Hey, as time goes on, I learn more things. Some of my childhood illusions are shattered. I'm sure it happens with other people too. For instance, when I was a kid, I used to hear stories about Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan and Babe, remember, a big giant-sized lumberjack kind of guy, for years I'd go out and buy lumberjack shirts because I wanted to be like Paul Bunyan. And just the other day I found out, he was actually a podiatrist in Wisconsin, Go figure. You live with these illusions all your life, and they're shattered. Hey, have you seen some of these stars lately? Celebrity people like this, that, and the other thing. Some of them, their faces are going to live on long after they die. I've discussed this before. But recently, the other day, I was reading about Barry Manilow. All right, Barry Manilow. He went to some special plastic surgeon. And the plastic surgeon and his team took off Barry's face. They actually extracted it from his body. And then they got an ironing board and they ironed it. They actually ironed Barry's face and then they put it back on. All right? Who ever heard of such a thing, Joan Rivers, I understand, had the same thing. The same exact type of surgery. Most of these people, they go to Brazil to have it. They can get a bikini wax at the same time. They can go to Rio, one of the hot spots of the world, the famous beach, get more sun, I don't know about you, but I want my sun to be leathery looking. I want it to be crackling. I want it to be crackling happy when I get older, Often I think of conspiracy theories. Everyone thinks of conspiracy theories once in a while. We're all aware that they're out there, They're sort of like Obama, all right? They're there, and yet they're not there, okay? You don't know where they are. Do they live in some shadowy world? Do they only come out certain times a day or night, you think, you hear every once in a while, especially in the supermarket. I don't know what it is, supermarket. It's like the library of the local town. It's like the gossip center of the local town. Who knew? When I was a kid, we used to go to A&P. Remember A&P in New Jersey? And that was it. There was no gossip going on. And Elvis is living in Argentina. I found out the other day with Eva Perón. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Who knew? Robert Johnson, the great myth about Robert Johnson, the famous blues singer, that he went to the crossroads, I think in Mississippi, and he went to the crossroads at midnight and he sold his soul to the devil. He sold his soul to the devil in order to become a great blues singer. This persists. Sometimes I go to a Chinese restaurant, I open up a fortune cookie. There it is, right there. Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil. All right? So even the Chinese are aware of these urban myths and legends, JFK, all right? The big myth about JFK, I'm sure you know what it is. He conspired against himself. He had this great conspiracy against himself in order to become a Mormon. All right? He liked the multi-wife thing. He just became enamored. He had an obsession about guys that had multi-wives. It was a fixation in his head. Okay, so McDonald's, all right? McDonald's, this theory is that McDonald's actually started the one world government theory, okay, in order to have restaurants in Nigeria. Okay, who comes up with these things? Where do they just float in the air? Do people actually read them in fortune cookies? McDonald's of all corporations, and and now the conspiracy theorists are saying that the 9/11 thing was a conspiracy. All right, I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe it was a conspiracy, an inside job. I don't believe that. What I do believe is that the bombers were actually from Mars. All right? They were from Mars, and they were very pissed off that we stole their mineral rights. Okay, go figure, their mineral rights. Think about it, Mars mineral rights, everybody, has that connection. The World Trade Center, is in the mix too, okay? So you put two and two together, you come up with this conspiracy. That's what I did. If I can do it, you can understand it too. It all comes together in one gelatinous mess, okay? All right. The other day, I went to my doctor, all right? Which I frequently do. And he said I was bipolar, all right? He said, David, you're bipolar. I said, you're sure it's not bicoastal? I told him, I said, look, are you sure it's not bicoastal? Because I live in both California and New York. All right. He said, no. And by the way, he said, you are ambidextrous. Oh, I got scared. I got scared after that one. Who wants to be ambidextrous? I mean, it's a severe malady, and I don't think they have a cure for it yet. What about, and I asked him, I said, what about anti-pasta? Am I anti-pasta too? Unfortunately, he said, yes. Yes, you are anti-pasta. I'm telling you, the way I suffer, it's a big weight on my shoulders, you know. For a kid like me, you know, just a humble kid with humble beginnings, you know. And he gave me some prescriptions. They gave me some prescriptions to fill. And when I filled the prescriptions, I read the label of one, and it said, this is the label, okay? You go spend $50 for a prescription, and this is what the label said on it. It said, take 3 hours before you wake up. All right? What is that about? Take 3 hours. Take one of these pills 3 hours before you wake up. And the other prescription, it said, have at least 4 people with you when swallowing this medicine. You know, does that ring the panic button with you? It did with me. All of a sudden, I was, what? Something's going to come down from the heavens, you know, and swallow me? You know, God forbid something should swallow me. I don't know about you, but I think about it all the time. I'm walking down this, oh God, I hope, you know, those bombers from Mars, you know, they don't come down and swallow me. You know, I think about this. I don't know, it's just my mind. It goes off on a tangent, but I don't like James Taylor. And the reason I don't like James Taylor is because you can't call him Jimmy. Okay? What kind of shit is that, man? Okay? What kind of crapola is that, you know? You can't call him Jimmy. You can't call him Little Jimbo. You know, what? You know, my brother Robert, I have a brother Robert, okay? And I can call him anything. And he responds. I go, Rob, Robbie, Bob, Bobby, Gajan, you know? He responds to everything. Everything that I call him, he responds to. God bless him for that, you know? So, James Taylor, can you imagine what goes in that household? What goes on in that household? Just think about it for a minute, okay? Oh, Jimmy, will you bring the laundry up? All right, Jimmy, would you go downstairs and get me the laundry? Yeah. Oh, please. You know, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah from his wife, you know. And then he says, how many times do I have to tell you? How many times? How many times do I have to tell you to get it across to you? Okay? I'm James. It's James. James Taylor. You know? Or Sweet Baby. You can call me Sweet Baby. I love it. I love when you call me Sweet Baby. I like to be called Sweet Baby, you know? Because I want to sound sweet. This is what he actually said. He said, I want to sound sweet. Sweet Baby James. You know? Go tell that, you know? Go tell that to... what is that shit? You know? The guy, all he ever wanted to do was sound sweet. You know? Go tell that to Dylan. All right? You moron. You know? So anyway, those are my thoughts of the moment. I'm thinking, you know, I'm thinking so you can have more understanding and more clarity. And I thank you for tuning in.